If where you have been going to a pharmacy, you have not gone for a checkup. Some years ago, a pharmacist brought his daughter for me to treat. The first question I asked him in my mind, why don't you treat her yourself? Because he will treat you, but he will not treat his daughter. He brings the daughter to the doctor to see. That is the training. Because it's the doctor that makes diagnosis, that says this is what is wrong with you. This is how we are going to handle it, not the pharmacist. Because only in Nigeria I see such things happen, where everybody is a doctor. I was standing by a chemist, dressed casually. A woman came to buy drugs, and she was talking to the lady in the chemist and calling her doctor in front of me. And the girl, she was, my belly, my stomach is like, hey, come and buy this also. Hey, thank you, doctor. Yes, I said, when the doctor becomes a non-doctor, and the non-doctor is not the real doctor. So that you went to pharmacy, they checked you, is not check-up. And even though you go to the hospital and the doctor did not see you, you've not also done what? You've not done check-up. That I went to the hospital. I'm going to tell you this story that happened a year ago or two. There is this man on the street of the clinic. He have never seen me before, but I always see the hospital. He has had a stroke years ago. Whenever I'm going out, I'll see him checking his blood pressure, talking to the nurses. He has never seen me before. Never. For months. The next thing, they brought him in an emergency, unconscious. And the doctor was saying, and then was telling on phone, we came to see our doctor. In my mind, I said, when did I become their doctor? Somebody I've never seen before. Of course, the case was so bad. I said, no, you have to do this. And they said, no, we can't do. Of course, they took him away. Of course, he died. But in his mind, coming to the hospital is seeing doctor. So a routine checkup is a visit to the doctor. When you come to the hospital, please see the doctor. If the doctor is not available, book another appointment. I'm going to say this especially for people that are pregnant, because the common error I've seen among the pregnant women, when they come for antenatal, the doctor does not see them. The nurses do everything, check their BP, they go back. It's wrong. In fact, allow the doctor confirm whatever that has happened. Be patient and wait for it. Some time ago, I sat at the reception. Some years ago, I sat at the reception. And then a man came. The nurse had checked his blood pressure. And she said 120/80. So the man jumped up in excitement. Wow, I said it. This forever living product is working. In my curiosity, because I said, wow, I'm going to discover a new thing today. I was excited. So forever living product can control blood pressure. This is beautiful. So I said to the man, okay, sit, let me check by myself. Because my guy in the office, he does not check. He's too busy. I know he will not check. Whatever you bring for him, that is what he uses. I checked. Guess what I got? 240/140. I looked at the nurse. I called the matron, come, check this baby. She checked. What did you get? She told me exactly what I got. I turned to the young nurse. If you don't know how to check blood pressure, why not tell us? We will teach. Now wait. That man would have gone home that day, right? Saying, forever living brother is working. The next day, he will fall down and die. Then they will say, but he's coming from hospital. It's juju. Most of the people that will say juju killed them, it's not juju that killed them. The real juju was the person they met in the hospital. Or the person they met in church is the real juju. So most like the jujus, we are shaking their hands every day, giving us wrong advice, killing the people innocent. And it means that now we have many jujus around. Am I right, sir? Many jujus around. So sometimes when you are playing witches and wizards, be very careful. The person may be your neighbor, very close to you. So the doctor examines the client or the patient. So me as a doctor, when I see a patient I examine, I touch, I ask one or two questions because that is how we are trained. In fact, the training is if another doctor sees you before that doctor, you the second doctor also confirm. Because the other man probably may have done whatever it is out of pressure, tiredness, so you to confirm. That's the training. So always try to see the doctor. I always tell those I know that are related in one way or another, I always inform them, please beg the doctor, sir, please can you confirm whatever the nurse has done, whatever. You know, one thing I have realized is this. Nigerians generally, they don't really care so much about their fellow human being. That is my own observation for these few years. That Nigerians generally, wherever they belong to, and I want to have this in mind today. That man you met in the hospital, he may not be different from the man in the National Assembly. He may not be different from the man in the university. He may not be different from the man in the motor park because they have the same father. I hope you are aware of that. Their father is the devil. Just that they are positioned in different places. So we have to have this understanding in mind. Because with this understanding, you will arm yourself with the right information. You will arm yourself with the right thing, the right decision to take at different times. Just a minute, please. So, routine medical checkup involves a visit to the hospital and a visit to the doctor. Let's talk about, that should be the last. Okay, I wanted to show you something. I want to show you a slide. Yes, look at that slide. Can we go to the next slide, sir? Look at this slide. Look at it. Why do you go for checkup? Look at that image. Prevention, you see what it takes to prevent. Are you noticing something? Look at cure. How many blocks? So many blocks, right? So there is a common adage that prevention is better than what? Is better than cure. Prevention is better than cure. To prevent is less expensive than what you will require. Most times when you are dodging to see the doctor and you are cutting corners, the end result, you will spend far more money. For me, it's better to spend that little money than the one that will be in thousands. And you have to sell land, you have to sell houses, you have to write letter to NDDC and to the government. It's better to spend that little money to keep going. Because most of the times, most persons, when they have high blood pressure and we advise them taking the drugs, they say the money is too much. I have to be buying these drugs every time. I say put in your budget. Put in your budget. Then there's a common question some patients ask me. They say, sir, would I take these drugs for life? I will now ask some of them, how old are you? You say, I'm 60 years old. How many more years will you live? We must face reality. Will I take it for life that you are 60 years old? Will you live up to 1? Yes. Eh? Except by God's own strength, right? Okay. But let's face facts. If you are 60 years old, it means that give or you have less than 40 years to live on earth. Let's face facts. Let's not deceive ourselves. In fact, if you are 70 years old, it means that give or take, you have to number your days and prepare to make a lot. So if you are 70 years old, it means that you have less than 20 years. So if you have to take your drugs and you are 70, why are you now asking me, will I take for life? A woman asked me like that and she is 50 something. I laughed. I said, how many more years do you think you will live? You are 50 something, how many more? You don't know. sometimes it's difficult to say some things. I tell you the truth, probably that woman is only 10 years she has, so, and she's asking, will I take for life? If a boy is born today and is asking me that question, it's understood, right? Look at the next slide. Health impact on longevity, myths and facts. Myths and facts. Health affects longevity, more so living well in old age. If you have good health, you will live well in old age. Some age with pain and some with lots of medication support. Most in this category began their health struggles at a younger age. Let me say this very clearly now. Listen carefully, please. If you are young and you are having high blood pressure or diabetes or whatever the case may be, and you don't take care of it, it means that that person is preparing for a difficult old age. Because if you are 40 years and you have high blood pressure or diabetes, those complications with those conditions happen in 20 to 25 years, some of them. So at this time, the person is 60 years old. He begins to suffer the consequences of what started when he was young. If as in he is still alive. Those are the challenges. That's why we have to do the right thing. Check yourself. If you have social condition, you just handle it. You'll be fine. I'm telling you the truth. Hence, old age becomes a nightmare. Individuals suffer so their health needs and medications and outcomes. Some common myths, which I will tell you as I round up. Some common myths. Disease no dey kill African man. Have you ever heard that before? And yet the African man life expectancy, the Nigerian man, look at his life at 55. So which one is killing him? Thank you, ma. Ignorance. I went to give a health talk in Utah some years ago. It was a women convention. I asked them, high blood pressure and low blood pressure, which one is more dangerous? If you say high blood pressure, if you say low blood pressure, so let me do that census here. If you say high blood pressure, let me see your hand. High blood pressure is more dangerous. Let me see your hand. The children will 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. If you say low blood pressure, let me see your hand. Low blood pressure. Okay? Uncountable hands. So many hands. This was the same census I got there at the Bruta. I now told them what I want to tell you. High blood pressure, low blood pressure will give you a sign. You will wake up in the morning tired. Sometimes you can't even stand up. Sometimes maybe you can't raise up your hand. It will give you a sign. With that sign, you will look for somebody to help you go to the hospital. Because you will tell yourself, I must see doctor, right? Because you are helpless now. But I now said to them, high blood pressure, look at the sign it gives. It also gives signs. But this is the sign high blood pressure gives. Good night, everybody. He goes to sleep. In the morning, he has refused to wake up. He is buying fuel at the station. As they are putting the fuel, he falls down. Nobody to drive the car. He's going straight to the mortuary. Like that man of God in Port Harcourt who went to inspect the building he's building. After inspecting, oh, well done, you are doing well. Then he went to his car. The workers kept looking at the car. Oga never see Komodo. 1 hour has passed. 2 hours has passed. What is he doing at the car? They came down from the building. See Oga by the door. Dead. Excuse me. Do you like the signs high blood pressure gives? So high blood pressure and low blood pressure, which one is more dangerous? If you say low blood pressure, let me see. You can see. Don't allow any man to see. throughout my years of practice, I have never seen any man die of low blood pressure. I have never seen one that died of low blood pressure. If that man died of low blood pressure, that was an underlying illness. But the family does not want to tell you that one. Then they say, doctor saying a low blood pressure. It's a lie. The man may have had a cancer or HIV or other chronic illness that led to blood loss and so on and so forth. So low blood pressure does not kill any man. There are other things that will kill you before the low blood pressure. But high blood pressure is a nightmare. Don't at any time. And unfortunately, it's higher with us in the blacks. It's so high because of a lot of things contributing to them. Men die when it is their time to die. Sir, do you agree with this? Do you not agree with this? Men die when it is. So anybody who died, it is his time. It's a fallacy. I bet you we will discover it very soon at the river bank that most Nigerians who died, probably 90% of Nigerians that died, they died before their time. And that is because we have refused to do the right thing. Man die go. Of course, I know you will not agree with that, right? I don't have hypertension, but I have BP. They are the same. Facing a reality is not faithlessness. That is where we miss it most of the time. Once you face reality, and then you trust God for help. Smith Wigglesworth, how many of us know Smith Wigglesworth? That great evangelist that raised a lot of dead people. In his old age, his eyes began to go dim. So he went to the hospital, met the ophthalmologist, and they gave him a lens. So he was using his lens. His daughter saw him and said, Daddy, you have prayed for people to receive healing. Why didn't you trust God for yourself? The old man said, I have prayed and trusting God. But since the healing has not come, I'm still using the lenses. We within Christianity look too hard. Too hard. A girl failed the exam, came to my office. I said, what did you score? She said, I didn't have F. I said, what did you score? She said, I didn't have F. They gave me F. I said, no, I had F. Accept it. I had F. I said, let me tell you, I have had F. But that was the last F I ever had. But I said to myself, I won't have it again. That's how it is. So once you say, I have, then you now walk towards a solution. You get better. So accept where it's better. The earlier the better, before the whole world gets to know that you got an F. Look at the facts. Look at the facts. We looked at the life expectancy of Africans. We can testify that we are really down. Those with routine medical visits live longer. Most young deaths are due to undiagnosed or poorly managed hypertension and or cardiac illness disease. So most persons who die young, most of them is an undiagnosed issue that led to their death. A mother brought a young child off is also that they needed to travel out of the country. So we have to do medical check for them based on the requirement of the company. And then when we did a medical check for this 6-year-old child, you need to see his heart of the 6-year-old child. 7 feet. He had a cardiomegaly. The mother was shocked. We were all shocked. Immediately, my mind went to a congenital heart disease. I said, okay, let me send you to the cardiologist. This was an incidental finding, which probably that boy would have grown with it. In secondary school or university, you just hear he died. So most of these things are undiagnosed. And there are a lot of persons who have undiagnosed problems. I will share this with you and then I will round up. So because we are done. My sister-in-law, some time ago, wanted to do a check. Said, let me do cervical screening. She just said to us, I think we're going to do a cervical screening. She went and did a cervical screening, a pap smear, and discovered that already she has begun to have cancer cells in her cervix. Immediately, they had to take action to get rid of it. She's better. She has overcome that problem. It's discovered incidentally. And now she's happy. So sometimes when we just stay far away and be thinking that that is fate, I don't think that is fate. I think we're going to call it again, and then if there is time, we'll take questions. Thank you very much, and God bless you.